Why don't you guys come with me and I'll show you a peek behind the curtain. So as of right now, I'm trying to create symbols so I can create the other half of the diagram. We've been covering this. Now I'm going to try and do this. My goal is to make symbols for all these different concepts. So that way when I need to quickly reference an equation, I can do so by simply writing them out. Now, traditions of men, what that means is, it's a term I started hearing around 6 months ago and it kept coming up again and again. Think of the traditions of men as any sort of principles, code of conduct, any psychological or metaphysical truths that go beyond or are deeper than just society or people as we know it. Something that connects us all throughout time. These were some of the original designs for the symbol that I was trying to create. I was trying to create this sort of influence with like inverse perspective, or an arrow going down into a person or a soul, or some kind of easier version of that, so it looked a little less blocky. And eventually, when I broke it down, right, it's society that influenced a family or a person, I kind of started putting the symbols together, simplified, and then it became this. The breakdown is the authority, which impacts the people in our society, which then influence you and I. And while I was trying to come up with the next symbol for the society one, or social contracts, I had to come up with a symbol that meant compounded. So basically that means expectations is compounded by trust. And I think I've fallen in one of these three. So society, or social contracts, and this is a placeholder symbol I have for society, comes from expectations, which is compounded by trust. If you don't trust, then you can't really have expectations for the people around you. Now, if you put these three together, you can see how complicated this would get really quickly. And you can see when I try to combine these three that with each iteration it gets more complicated and thus harder to understand. I try my best to take all of the elements and merge them all together. And then over time, you start to remove some elements and you start to receive a functioning symbol. The problem is the more elements you remove, the less it looks like its original intent. And eventually, you arrive at something that has elements of each part: the circle from society, the plus from trust, the crown from society, the horseshoe from expectation. And while it doesn't have every element that we wanted, it is unique enough and easily recognizable as this general concept. Here, from authority, expectations are expected, and the people who rest in that expectations and in that trust can rely on social contracts in order for society to run. And that in general is how I make these things function and how I make all of these symbols. I thought that might be interesting to you guys. I don't know. Let me know. I can run through more of them if you want, or I can include you in more behind the scenes if that's something your guys interested, unless you want something more polished, but here it is.